Have you ever started speaking English and suddenly your mind became empty? You knew the idea a few seconds ago. You knew the words. You even practiced the sentence before. But then someone looked at you and waited for your answer. At that moment, everything disappeared. You could not find the next word. You could not remember the grammar. You could not even remember what you wanted to say. This happens to many English learners. It does not mean your English is bad. It does not mean you are not ready to speak. It only means your brain is busy. When you speak, your brain has many jobs. It must choose words. It must build sentences. It must check grammar. It must listen to the other person. And it must watch their face. It must do all these things very quickly. Sometimes the brain says, "Too much. I need a moment." Today, I want to show you what to do in that moment. Not after the conversation, not next week. I mean, at the exact second when your mind goes blank and you do not know what to say. Okay, let's begin with a small story. A learner was at a coffee shop in London. The person behind the counter asked, "Would you like anything else?" The learner wanted to say, "Yes. Can I also have a glass of water?" It was an easy sentence. He knew every word, but his mind suddenly went blank. He looked at the person. The person looked at him, and the learner felt pressure. Then he said, "Sorry, my English is bad." But his English was not bad. He only lost one sentence. This is important. Do not turn one missing sentence into a big story about yourself. Do not say my English is terrible. Say, I lost the sentence. These two ideas feel very different. If you say your English is terrible, you attack yourself. If you say you lost the sentence, you describe a small problem. A lost sentence can come back. So, what can the learner do next time? Well, he can use what I call a rescue bridge. A rescue bridge is a short phrase that gives your brain more time. It helps you stay inside the conversation. For example, let me think for a second. What I want to say is, how can I put it? I know the idea, but I need a moment. These phrases are useful because they're not empty sounds. They tell the other person what is happening. You're not running away. You are still speaking. Imagine this. Someone asks, "What did you think of the film?" Your mind goes blank. You say, "Let me think for a second." I liked it, but the ending was... Now you have more time. Maybe the next word comes. Maybe it does not. That is fine because you still have other tools. The next tool is this. When your mind goes blank, stop searching for the perfect sentence. Look at the scene in your mind. Ask yourself 3 easy questions. Where was I? Who was there? What happened first? These questions are simple. They can restart your memory. For example, someone asks, "How was your weekend?" You want to talk about a family lunch, but your mind goes blank. So do not search for a beautiful answer. Start with the scene. On Sunday, I was at my sister's house. My parents were there. First, we had lunch. Now the story has started. When the story starts, more words often come. This works because memory is not only words. Memory is also pictures, places, people, sounds, and feelings. If the words disappear, go back to the picture. Here is another method. You can listen to the last important word in the other person's question. Use that word to begin your answer. For example, someone asks you, "How was your meeting?" The last important word is meeting. You can say, "The meeting was good. We talked about a new project." Or someone asks you, "Why do you like this city?" The last important word is city. You can say, "This city is busy, but I like the energy." Or someone could ask you, "What do you usually do after work?" So the last important phrase is after work. You can say, "Well, after work, I normally go home and cook." So you do not need to create a new starting point. The other person gives it to you. This is very useful in interviews, in exams, and fast conversations. Now let's talk about a strange idea. When your mind goes blank, make your sentence smaller. Many learners try to say too much. They begin with a long idea in their first language. Then they try to carry the whole idea into English. The sentence becomes heavy. For example, you want to say, "I was planning to go to the city center, but because the weather changed and I had already had a very busy week, I decided that staying at home would be a better idea." Well, that is a lot of information. Your brain may stop in the middle. So make it smaller. I wanted to go into town. Then it started raining. I was tired. I stayed home. Same meaning, easier road. Think of speaking like carrying shopping bags. If you carry 10 bags at the same time, you may drop everything. So carry one bag, then carry the next one. One idea, one sentence. Now, this is not childish English, It is clear English. Good communication is not about building the longest sentence. It is about helping the other person follow you. The next method or strategy is what I call the 3-box method. When you need to answer a question, put your answer into 3 boxes. Box 1 is the simple answer. Box 2 is one reason. Box 3 is one example. Now, imagine someone asks, "Do you enjoy learning English?" Box 1 is, "Yes, I do." That's the simple answer. Box 2 is the reason. It helps me speak to more people. And here's box 3, the example. For example, I can talk to people when I travel. You see, that is already a complete answer. Someone might ask, "What kind of food do you like?" Here is box 1. I really like Italian food. Here is box 2. It is simple and full of flavor. Here is box 3. For example, I love pasta with tomato sauce. The 3 boxes stop your mind from looking for everything at once. You only need the next box. Now imagine that you forget one word. Maybe you want to say kettle, but you cannot remember the word. Many learners stop the whole conversation because one word is missing. Do not stop. Describe the word. You can say, "It is the thing we use to boil water." Or, "I cannot remember the word, but it is in the kitchen we use it for tea." This skill is powerful because real speakers do this all the time. Even in their first language, people forget words. The goal is not to remember every word. The goal is to keep the meaning alive. You can also use a wider word. If you forget pharmacy, say shop for medicine. If you forget receipt, say the paper from the shop. The word may not be perfect, but the message can still move. And more importantly, you continue speaking. And here is another rescue technique. Turn the conversation around. If your mind is completely blank, ask a small question. For example, someone asks, "What do you like to do at the weekend?" You cannot think of any answer. You can say, "Well, it depends. What about you? Do you normally go out?" The other person answers. While they speak, your brain gets time to recover. Then you can return to your answer. "That sounds nice. I usually stay home on Saturday, but I go out on Sunday." This is not cheating. Conversation is not an exam where one person speaks and the other person waits. Conversation moves in 2 directions. A good speaker does not only answer. A good speaker also speaks. Now let us look at the body. A blank mind often starts in the body before it reaches the words. Your shoulders become tight. Your breathing becomes short. Your mouth becomes dry. Your face becomes serious. Then your brain thinks something is wrong. So give your body a small job. Press your feet gently into the floor. Breathe out slowly. Relax your jaw. Look at one friendly part of the person's face, perhaps their eyes or their smile. Do not try to relax your whole body. That is too much. Choose one small action. For example, breathe out and say, "Let me think." This tells your body and your brain that the situation is safe. You are not in danger. You are only looking for a sentence. There is another useful idea. Prepare 5 safe doors. A safe door is a sentence that can open many topics. Here are 5 examples. The first thing that comes to mind is, one reason is, a good example is, it depends on the situation. Well, I have never thought about that before, but these phrases are useful because you can use them in many conversations. Someone asks, "What makes a good teacher?" And you say, "Well, the first thing that comes to mind is patience." Someone asks, "Why do people move to big cities?" You answer, "One reason is work." Someone asks, "Is social media helpful?" You say, "It depends on the situation." Someone asks a difficult question. You can say, "Well, I have never thought about that before, but I think..." You see, these safe doors are not full answers. They are just beginnings. And beginnings are often the hardest part. Once you begin, the road becomes clear. Now, I want to give you a very unusual practice idea. Do not always practice perfect speaking. Practice recovery. Take a simple topic, such as food, work, or travel. Speak for 1 minute, then stop yourself in the middle of a sentence. Wait for 2 seconds. Now practice coming back. Say, "Let me say that in a simpler way," or, "I lost my train of thought. What I mean is..." Then continue. Now, why is this useful? Because in real conversations, problems happen. A phone rings. Someone interrupts you. You forget a word. You change your mind. If you only practice perfect sentences, you're not practicing real speaking. Real speaking includes repair. A strong speaker is not a person who never gets lost. A strong speaker knows how to return. Here is another practice game. Choose a normal object near you, maybe a cup, a key, or a chair. Now explain it without saying its name. For example, you use this when you want to open your front door. It is small and made of metal. The answer is key. All right. I hope these techniques will help you become a better speaker. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of English. Until next time, keep learning, keep practicing, and keep improving your speaking. Bye for now.